Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Dankers, and I serve as your community steward here at TRUU. Whether you're here in person or joining us on Zoom or YouTube, welcome. If this is your first time with us, we're so glad you found your way here. It takes courage to step into a new space, and we want you to feel not only welcome, but deeply at home. TRUU is a community where questions are honored, diversity is cherished, and each person's path, be it spiritual, secular, skeptical, mystical, or somewhere in between, is respected. We invite you to bring your whole self into this space, your doubts, your joy, your grief, your curiosity. There is room here for all of it. If you're visiting, we'd love to get to know you. If it feels good, now is a great time to share your name and where you're from. Oh, right on. Well, welcome. We're really glad you found your way here this morning. Anybody else? Thank you for introducing yourselves this morning. We're so glad you're here, whether you're visiting for a day or wondering if this might be a new spiritual home for you. After the service, during coffee hour, I'd like to invite our longtime TRUU folks to be especially mindful of our guests. Say hello, learn a name, and to the degree that feels comfortable for everyone, help folks feel at home. And to our guests, this is your space too while you're with us. I also want to recognize our online community. Many of you are with us from home. Some of you are regulars who are traveling, and some are far-flung friends who join us from other places. You are a real and vibrant part of this gathering, and we're grateful you're here. If you're joining us online for the first time, you're warmly invited but never required to say hello in the chat. Our online folks tend to take good care of each other there, and I do my best to keep an eye on the chat as well. Let's take a collective breath together. Let yourself arrive here now. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw soften, your mind settle. You are invited to set other obligations aside and give yourself the gift of simply being here. The Soul Matters theme for the month of December is Choosing Hope. Today I'm honored to introduce our worship associate, M. Susan Cashel, who will help guide us through this morning's service. And our guest speaker, Charis Caldwell, will be reflecting on A Way Worth Taking, Taoism and Wisdom's Soulful Undulations. Charis comes to us with 35 years of experience as an ordained Presbyterian minister, 16 years of teaching experience at Colorado Mountain College, teaching philosophy, comparative religions, and business leadership courses, as well as a master's in moral philosophy at St. Andrews University. She is currently guiding spiritual pilgrimages, and you can learn more about those by asking her about them. We also offer our gratitude to today's musician, Micha. Sometimes. During our Story for All Ages, children and youth ages 2 through 17 will be invited to come forward. And after the story, they're welcome to join Kathy Feinsinger in a TRUU room for creativity encounters for youth. Or they're just as welcome to stay here in the gathering space with their families. A word of thanks to all who make this space possible today. To Ian Hess for setting up our gathering space and hosting. To Dee Dee and Ed for our coffee hour hospitality. To Liza Ferrier for running our in-person slides, and to Logan for tending our online community. We are a volunteer-powered community, and your presence and efforts matter. You'll find announcements and upcoming events in your order of service. Please give them a look. Get your tickets for Aspen Choral Society's Messiah for this coming week and weekend. There's a sing-along here at the TRUU in the 3rd Street Center at the Community Hall. It's a sing-along concert performance / dress rehearsal on Wednesday night. And then on Friday night, we'll be in Aspen, Saturday night in Basalt, and Sunday in Glenwood. And we have 4 of our TRUU regular TRUers are part of the chorus. We have Andrew and Liza singing with us, and Jamie Hayes and Beth Lamb, and of course, Micha and I are involved as well. Everything's at 7 o'clock. And you can get your tickets. There's a link in the bulletin. If you just follow that, you can get tickets. Advanced tickets are $5 cheaper than if you buy them at the door. That's true for all of the concerts. And then plan to attend and bring cookies for our winter solstice events. Let Thelma know if you are planning to do some baking for our hospitality. And I have an announcement here from Dr. Terry Borden. Join us to share your emotions and experiences as you grieve the loss of a loved one. In a supportive environment guided by a licensed facilitator, you'll gain valuable insights by discussing your loss and learning from others how to move forward, cope with loneliness and grief, discover acceptance, and gain optimism that life, although changed, can get better. There is no cost to attend. Confidentiality is respected. This group is open to anyone experiencing grief from any loss, regardless of when this loss occurred. It meets the first and third Monday of each month, beginning January, and it's from 1 to 2:30 p.m. here at the 3rd Street Center in room 23, which is the TRUU office. If you're interested, please give Dr. Terry Borden a call at 516-242-9365 for more information. And there's some handouts, Terry, by the door there? Okay, cool. Thank you, Susan. Now, as we shift into our shared time of reflection, please take a moment to silence your phones and devices. We begin with a musical prelude.
Footsteps, footsteps on the journey, oceans in the sand, sunlight on the valley, stars across your head. Beauty all around you, beauty deep within, the sign of awakening when all is forgiven. they shall come together that once were drawn apart. Beauty all around us, beauty deep within, the sign of awakening when all is forgiven. Footsteps on the journey, oceans in the sand, sunlight on the valley, stars across your head, beauty all around us, beauty deep within, the sign of awakening when all is forgiven.
To turn myself on. I forgot that part. Now, thank you. That was really beautiful. And now we're going to start our formal sacred part. Do I do something with that? Okay. Thank you. And so, Susan, you're going to help light this chalice. Thank you. This is by Leslie Poole Cosbaugh. Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves in our earthly home. Thank you. And now please remain seated for all of the songs so that you can see up here, and we're going to sing. I'm not going to sing on this mic, so don't worry about that. Wake now our senses.
Wake now sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the white sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end.
Me in saying our spoken unison covenant. The words are going to be up here. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And please join us in singing our song aspiration, Spirit of Life. The words will be up here.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirring of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots only grows, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
And now it's our time of the story for all ages. We have no children, so you're going to be the children. I don't think she wants to. She's welcome to come, but I don't think she'll want to do that. This is from Winnie the Pooh, was written in 1926 by A.A. Milne and illustrated by E.H. Shepard, and they lived in England. And you've seen all those pictures of Winnie the Pooh. The Tao of Pooh was written in 1982 by Benjamin Hoff, and he lived in the United States. And Lao Tzu in China was writing 2,500, I didn't say that right, 1,000 years before either one of them. So, do they have anything in common? And that's what we're going to look at today. And you can put that up any time now. Okay, I think you can see it. There's a very old scroll that's called the Vinegar Tasters that was likely made in Japan hundreds of years ago. It can be said to describe the three major religions or philosophical traditions of China: Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. And I was going to have myself and my husband, and I was going to make Susan come up here too, and be the people, but luckily Paul put it up there. You can kind of see that there's three people. There's three old men standing around a vat of vinegar, and each man has dipped his finger into the vinegar and tasted it. The first man is said to represent Confucius, who has a sour look on his face. You can see that. I was going to be that person. He believed that life had a need of rules to correct the misdeeds of man. Man needed lots of precisely measured steps, rituals, music. Confucius was said to have said, "If the mat is not straight, the master would not sit." So he was very rigid. The second picture is said to represent Buddha, who wears a little bit bitter expression on his face. Life on earth was dominated by pain and suffering due to the attachment of possessions and material desires. The middle way is a balanced approach to life. And then the third person, who you can kind of see, represents Lao Tse, who has a smile on his face. He saw life as fundamentally sweet, perfect in its natural state with lessons to be learned. The Tao, or the way, which could not be adequately described in words, was simply a particular way of appreciating, learning from, and working with whatever happens in everyday life. The natural result of this harmonious way of living with happiness was a bit of happiness with a little bit of humor thrown in. So the taste of vinegar is simply the taste of vinegar, not sweet, sour, bitter, or bland, and the three teachings are one, and maybe we benefit from them all. Benjamin Hoff, who wrote this little book that was a big bestseller in the 80s, and he had quite a life after that, saw Winnie the Pooh as sort of a Western wisdom maker, kind of like the Tao. Maybe Winnie the Pooh is just a dumpy little bear that wanders around asking silly questions, making up songs, going through all kinds of adventures without ever accumulating any amount of intellectual knowledge or losing his simple-minded sort of happiness. But listen to some of his wise sayings. "When you wake up in the morning, Pooh," said Piglet, "what's the first thing you say to yourself?" "What's for breakfast?" said Pooh. "What do you say, Piglet?" "I say, I wonder what's going to happen exciting today," said Piglet. Pooh nodded thoughtfully. It's the same thing. Okay, and this other one. "Hey, say, Pooh, why aren't you busy?" "Because it's a nice day," said Pooh. "Yes, but why ruin it?" But you could be doing something important," I said. "I am," said Pooh. "Oh? Doing what?" "Listening." "Listening to what?" "Listening to the birds and the squirrel over there." "What are they saying?" "They're saying it's a nice day." "But you know that already," I said. "Yes, but it's always good to hear that somebody else thinks so too." And this little book has lots of those. So if you get this at a used store for 25 cents, as I did, I highly recommend it. And now we're going to have the professional, because we don't have any children to sing out. Oh, you're going to do the pastoral meditation right now, right? I guess we're going to do that first. I forgot that. Sorry, I screwed up, but it's okay, because Pooh said it's okay. Now is the time in our gathering when we open space to honor those who are on our hearts. Some of those might be facing challenges or celebrating milestones, or no longer with us, but whose presence we feel. If you'd like to speak out loud the person's name that you are holding in love, we invite you to do so. Otherwise, you can do it inside. When you say their names out loud, we invite this community to share in our sorrow and our gratitude and our hope. So I'm thinking of the Rice family and my mother. And now you can come up here and do it. And now we're going to have time for all of those that are unspoken, whose names live quietly in our hearts, and we hold them too in our hearts in this time. And now Charis will lead us in a spirit of meditation.
Sorry, that I forgot to fix that in the script. I invite you to find a posture that feels steady and kind to your body. Let your feet rest on the floor if that's available, or settle however is comfortable. If it feels okay, you might soften your gaze or close your eyes. Let's begin with a breath. Inhale gently. Exhale as if you are setting something down. Again, breathing in and breathing out. The Tao Te Ching tells us that the highest good is like water, soft and yielding, yet strong enough to shape stone, naturally avoiding the low places everywhere everyone else avoids. As we arrive in this moment, you might ask yourself, where in my life do I feel pushed or forced? And where might there be an invitation, however small, to be a little bit more like water, a little softer, a little more trusting of the path that's unfolding? Inside each of us live many voices, many parts of who we are. You might notice just for a moment which parts are most present today. Perhaps a part of you that is tired and worn out, a part that is anxious and scanning for what might go wrong, a part that's hopeful and wants to believe in new beginnings, a part that simply wants to break from the noise of this season. You don't have to fix or change any of them. Just gently notice, oh, here you are too. If it helps, you might imagine these parts as people gathered around a small fire or as stones along the edge of a river. From a deeper, wiser place in you, what I'll call your true self, you might silently say to them, thank you for how hard you've been working. You don't have to do this alone right now. I'm listening. The Tao Te Ching also says, the one who knows others is wise. The one who knows oneself is enlightened. Self-knowledge isn't about harsh judgment. It's about honestly seeing what is here in us, our fear, our longing, our joy, and meeting it with curiosity instead of criticism. So gently ask your heart, what is alive in me right now? What am I truly needing? Maybe you are needing rest, or clarity, or companionship, or courage, or simply a place where there is nothing demanded of you for a few breaths. Name one need silently, softly to yourself. You don't have to know how it will be met, just let it be real. Our theme this month is choosing hope, not a thin optimism that pretends everything is fine, but a grounded hope, the kind that can look at what is difficult and still stay in relationship with life. So in this community, we practice not abandoning one another and not abandoning the parts of ourselves we find hard to love. If you wish, bring to mind someone you care about or someone you are struggling with, or even a part of yourself that feels tender or ashamed. From that deeper, spacious self within you, let a simple blessing arise. May you be held. May you find what you need. May you remember you are not alone. And now turn that same blessing gently toward yourself. May I be held. May I find what I need. May I remember I am not alone. The Tao Te Ching says, to know and yet think we do not know is the highest attainment. So we don't have to have anything figured out. We can walk the way one step, one breath, one honest conversation at a time. As we move into a time of silence, may we feel even slightly the quiet river of wisdom that runs beneath our busy thoughts, inviting us to soften, to listen, and to trust that the way is already here, within us, between us, and all around us. Let us rest together in shared silence.
keeps turning, one with the stars that shine, one with the waves that are ocean, one with the light that I see in your eyes. I am one with the earth that keeps turning, one with the stars that shine, one with the waves that are ocean, one with the light that I see in your eyes. I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion, I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion, I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion. So picking up on the melody, please sing along. I am one with the earth that keeps turning, one with the stars that shine, one with the waves that are ocean, one with the light that I see in your eyes. I am one with the earth that keeps turning, one with the stars that shine, one with the waves that are ocean, one with the light that I see in your eyes. I am one with the earth that keeps turning, one with the stars that shine, one with the waves that are ocean, one with the light that I see in your eyes. I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion, I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion, I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion. I am one with the earth that keeps turning, one with the stars that shine, one with the waves that are ocean, one with the light that I see in your eyes. I am one with the earth that keeps turning, one with the stars that shine, one with the waves that are ocean, one with the light that I see in your eyes. I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion, I am the waves, I am the ocean, I am stillness in motion.
Nice. Thank you. That was nice. Now we're going to have a couple readings from the Tao. This is called The Sage Acts Without Claiming. The sage acts without claiming. The sage manages affairs without doing anything and conveys his instruction without the use of speech. All things spring up, and there is not one which declines to show itself. They grow, and there is no claim for their ownership. They go through their processes, and there's no expectation of a reward for the results. The work is accomplished, and there's no resting in it as an achievement. This is from chapter 8. The highest excellence is like that of water. The excellence of water appears in its benefiting all things and in its occupying without striving the low place which humankind dislikes. Hence, the way is near to that of the Tao. This is the skill of the sage. The sage is always skillful at saving human beings, and so abandons no one. Always skillful at saving things, and so abandons no thing. This is called following the behavior of light. This is the sage has no fixed heart. The sage has no invariable mind of his or her own. The sage makes the mind of the people his or her mind. To the good, I treat well. To those who are not good, I also treat well. Thus, goodness is attained. Knowing others. The one who knows others is wise. The one who knows oneself is enlightened. The one who conquers others has force. The one who conquers oneself, is strong. And the great paradox of wisdom is, to know and yet think we do not know is the highest attainment. Not to know and yet think we do know is a disease. And now you're going to get a better explanation of all that.
I think the Tao Te Ching was pretty much on.
I have another
target.
little thing at the end that I can say.
That would be awesome.
I'll just read it because it's funny. Well, it's not funny. It just says it in words that I can understand. To know and he sings it, but I'm not going to do that. To know the way, we go the way. We do the way we do the things we do. It's all there in front of you. But if you try too hard to see it, you'll only become confused. I am me, and you are you, as you can see. But when you do the things that you can do, you will find the way, and the way will follow you. There. Let me turn it off.
Well, good morning. It's December, and the mountain is coming unshrouded, although I don't know if you can see it, but it's sort of a perfect background to talking about Taoism. I want to thank Misha. Your choices of music sets the stage for this, and truly, the Tao Te Ching may have been a better way in to this path of wisdom. I just want to say, as I say each and every time before sort of jumping into these amazing, rich traditions, that today is literally and very much an appetizer to Taoism, where you're just scratching the surface of this ancient tradition. I chose Taoism to kind of bookend our conversations that we've been having, and for those of you who may not have been there prior to today, we've been looking at wisdom traditions and trying to hear pearls of wisdom from across the continent, across the globe, and across the eons. And we began way back in August with primal religion. And some of the nuances and some of the aspects of primal religion are carried forward in Taoism. And I think in some ways, Taoism is probably the most literary form of primal religion's sensibilities and imagination. So this is kind of a way back to where we started. Taoism. There is a being, wonderful, perfect. It existed before heaven and earth. How quiet it is. How spiritual it is. It stands alone and it does not change. It moves around and around, but on this account does not suffer. All life comes from it. It wraps everything with its love as in a garment. And yet it claims no honor, for it does not demand to be Lord. I do not know its name, so I call it Tao, the way, and I rejoice in its power. Born around the end of the 6th century BCE, before the written word, Lao Tzu observed, mused, and meditated upon reality in the region around what is now modern-day Tibet. What we know about the Master, which is the English rendering of his name, is shrouded in mystery and legends. Most agree that Lao Tzu was an archivist, a clerk of a sort, who kept and managed the public records of his region. And though remembered as a man who led a simple and unassertive life, Confucius purportedly sought him out after hearing rumors of his wise sayings, and it was he who likened the Master to an enigmatic, larger-than-life, mysterious dragon. To me, he strikes like an Asian Socrates, not in the manner in which the two men transmitted their wisdom, but because both were common men with uncommon insight, who chose humility and humor to convey their wisdom. Lao Tzu, the tradition shares, had become disillusioned by what he perceived to be a moral or spiritual lack among his fellow citizens. This lack was, in his view, a disinclination to cultivate natural, innate goodness, choosing instead war and killing and brute force. Distressed by the warring and the back and forthing and the this and thating, Lao Tzu mounted a water buffalo and rode to the mountains toward Tibet. On his way, tradition says, he was stopped by a gatekeeper at the Hango Pass fortress. Recognizing the Master, the gatekeeper asked him to leave behind a record of his beliefs. And so, consenting to his request, Lao Tzu hid away in a cave for 3 days, returning with a small volume of 5,000 characters entitled the Tao Te Ching, or The Way and Its Power. To this day, the Tao Te Ching, which can be read in its entirety in half an hour, remains the source material for Taoist thought and practice. In spite of the previous origin story, scholars believe that The Way and Its Power was written down around the 3rd century BCE, a century or so after the Master had lived and after the period of the warring states in China had ended. The consensus of these scholars, though, is that Lao Tzu's words and phrases were remembered by a community of followers handed down to the next generation by way of oral transmission. That's that orality piece we talked about way back in August, until they were edited and compiled into the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu and Taoism writ large, for Lao Tzu and Taoism writ large, the primary concept holding together the worldview is the Tao, or path, or way. But unlike a linear path, Tao is multidimensional. And again, we hear echoes of primal religious sensibilities in Taoism's holism. So, on the one hand, the Tao is ultimate reality. I mean, kind of think of the universe. What is Tao. All of this, all of us are swimming in, breathing in, connected to Tao. We're all Tao. But because Tao is so vast, it is also too vast for reason to comprehend. So Tao also cannot be fully perceived or conceived by our minds. It is literally unfathomable. Tao cannot be measured because its depth and breadth are deeper and broader than any form of measurement. So Tao is beyond reason. And yet, and this is always this paradox, this back and forth in Taoism. Tao is likewise the source and destination of everything that is measurable, birthing all life and reappropriating all life back into Tao. Nothing is lost in the Tao. It is immanent in, inherent in, pervading all. Tao is both immensity and particularity, and it is visibly manifested in nature's rhythms. Fall into winter, winter into spring. Tao is the invisible, energetic pulse, power pulsing within all the rhythms. And nature holds the key to those rhythms. Our role is to then align ourselves with Tao's rhythms. When we live in alignment with Tao and with its flow, human beings, Lao Tzu asserted, will know harmony, peace, and what they called Wu Wei, which I'll explain in a moment. We will know these things in our lives. Okay, that sounds great. But how does one do that? Well, I offer the typical metaphor that's often offered when explaining this. The metaphor of surfing a wave. If you've ever been to the seaside, to the ocean, and watched surfers, an experienced surfer will sit on their board and look back, watching the ocean's undulations, detecting how, where, and when a swell of oceanic energy will gather into a wave to ride. The surfers are patient, they're observant, and they're submissive to the ocean's rhythms. A good surfer, having done all these things, having observed, having felt the energy, is then able to anticipate the water's tidal surge, paddle toward the energy. So there's an activity here. They paddle toward the energy to pop up and catch the wave. And if all is in alignment, he or she will surf the ocean's energy to the shore. But if the surfer is overly passive or aggressive or out of balance, wipe out! so it is with the Tao, which is the intrinsic flow, pulse, and currency of all life. Align with the Tao, ride the wave. Push an agenda, wipe out. Now, admittedly, that metaphor is simplistic, but I hope it provides a lens through which Taoist wisdom can be accessed. Because for you and I, as Western-minded folk, when we see a problem, we solve said problem. Taoism's counsel is to pause, perhaps for months, perhaps for years, before responding. And that, to many of us, sounds like absolute lunacy. And yet, think about it. How many times have we solved a problem only to be solving it again and again and again, wasting time, energy, and resources? Which is where Wu Hui comes into focus. In the past, it has been translated as do-nothingness or inaction. I think it's a translation that misses and frankly diminishes the spirit of the practice. A better term, which is creative quietude, combines the notion of supreme activity with supreme relaxation. And creative quietude, I believe, is a better rendering of Wu Hui. Wu Hui is not passive inactivity. What it is responsive activity, responding to the way's energetic leadings. And the ability to respond to Tao's patterns and flow requires a quieting of the conscious mind, because our conscious minds, our rational minds, tend to always be calculating and sorting and prioritizing and projecting outcomes. Calculation is not the same as inspiration, which is the way of Wu Hui. And so the Taoists suggest that genuine creativity arises when the resources of the subconscious mind, all that is below the threshold of the conscious mind, including feelings, are allowed to play, to intuit, to surf the Tao. But for this to happen, the thinking mind has to get out of the way. Our egos have to get out of the way. And when that happens, according to Taoism, and of course there are yogic practices to clear the mind, Tao is free to move us in ways that are graceful rather than abrupt, enriching rather than depleting, peaceful rather than aggressive. When attuned to the Tao, life is a kind of waltz, neither frantic nor unbalanced. Those who practice creative quietude wait for space to open up by first becoming calm. We become calm, just like when water is muddied and it allows to still, the calming of the water cleans it out, and there's clarity. Clarity, which arises through quieting, supports responsiveness rather than reactivity to any given situation, opportunity, crisis, task at hand. And those who practice creative certitude recognize how, when yielding to the Tao, they are like water, one of the things that we've heard today, infinitely supple and incomparably strong, able to melt, to carry, to buoy, to flow with the changing times. During our particular season of extreme social this and thatting, we could benefit from Taoism's wisdom teachings. rejecting self-assertism, rejecting competition, which is a form of scarcity, holding a reverential regard for nature, holding a reverential regard for humility, which tends to be a shared characteristic in every single wisdom tradition. Choosing simplicity over show, rejecting dualisms of any kind, and instead imagining presumed opposites to be complementary energies, and lastly, being open to, listening for the Tao's ever-circling, ever-constant, ever-flowing essence to guide us toward wellness. It may be well for us to listen, to be still, to watch before we speak, act, judge. Maybe it would be well for us to follow the wise path of Tao's innate natural goodness. The Master would have it be so.
If you happen to be familiar with this very unfamiliar song, please sing along. Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal. Time to live, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down. A time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to love, a time for hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for peace
And now this time is our time to talk about gratefulness. We're grateful for everything that everyone does and all of you that are coming. So thank you. It's our pleasure to be here. At this time in our service, we pause to recognize the shared commitment that keeps this community vibrant and alive. TRUU exists because of the generosity of spirit, time, and resources offered by those who believe in what we're creating together. If you feel moved to support the work of this community within these walls and beyond, you're warmly invited to give as you are able. You can also go online and give or on the bulletin, and if you need any help in figuring out how to give us money, we will all help you, so don't worry. But please, if you're a guest today, you're our guest, so do not feel obligated at all to donate anything. Please come again, would be what we'd love. We also appreciate your presence, your energy, your kindness, and your financial gifts. We're grateful for everything you do. And we're grateful for Charis, and I'm sorry you're not coming anymore, but we hope you come again. And her family who comes and joins her, that was really nice. And Paul and Mika, thank you as always. So, we have our helpers here. Thank you, Phil. And now we will have a closing hymn, Return Again, and I think the words are going to be up here. It's a good one.
Yeah, and it happens to be around. Yay. I'll declare you group 1. I'll declare you group 2. It's not a tricky one. So let's sing through it once all together, and then we can split up into 2 groups. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Group 1, return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to
up here because it sounded pretty good. Even though all the really strong singers were on that side, we did very well on this side. So, thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you for your patience with me on this journey through wisdom traditions. When Paul asked me, gosh, back in May, I don't know, June, to do this, I thought, okay. But really, it's been fun for me to revisit these traditions and be reminded of how common we really are when all is said and done. And the striving and the desire for wisdom has been a part of the human experience since before words were written down, and long after they've been digitized and sent to Mars. The search for wisdom will continue, and I hope that together maybe we've made some steps in our own walks to become more wise in these unwise times. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. May moon and stars pour their healing light on all of us.
And now we close our time together. Thank you, Susan. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the power of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now you get to stand up and move your bodies and hold hands if you want. And sing our One World Home song by Jimmy Byrne. And the words will be up here, I do believe, right? Yeah.
Just a reminder quickly for everyone who has a speaking part in the Solstice event. Thanks for meeting today for a read through our script together. I would say let's take about 25 minutes or so, relax coffee time, and then meet over there maybe 11:40 in the TRUU office. If that works for everyone, appreciate it. All the joys and the griefs, the colors and beliefs, the sunlight shines upon us all the same.